got a book. Give you a second to go over it. Anybody got any questions or comments about the quiz yesterday or anything that we've done up to this point so far?
I do.
Okay.
Thanks for jumping on it and getting it done. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys did a great job yesterday. Appreciate your hard work.
I have a question.
All right.
Is there any way we can go back and see like the one, because I missed one question. I would like to see the one I missed.
Yeah, you can get back with us after class.
Yeah, me too.
The one you missed.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That'll be for the end. All right. If everybody's up to speed, we're unit 20, averages and estimates. Okay. It says average is found by adding individual values up, sum of numbers of some number of units and dividing them by the sum total number of units. So I'm gonna share my screen with you here, guys, and jump on the Wacom. Give me a sec. Share screen. Number 2, share. Everybody see my little paint screen? I'm gonna take that as a yes. All right, just an example. On the first page here, it says a company truck has the following gasoline expenses: $68.50, $87.34, $103.09, $77.16. Okay, we want to get an average of those expenses. So what we're going to do, we're going to add those all up to $336.09. And because of they're saying it has we're looking at the first a month that they're wanting the average cost. So a month there's 4 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to divide 336.09. We're going to divide that by 4. What's the answer, guys? Somebody hit it with the calculator real quick.
84.02.
84.02. That's the average per week is what they're looking for. Okay. Anybody got any questions about averages? How to average something? And it talks about estimates.
Don't you just add them all together in the bottom by 4?
That's right. That's what I said. Because they're wanting an average. This is an average. They're looking for a weekly average.
I got you.
Yeah. And there's 4 weeks that they're looking at. Okay. All right, now let's move on to estimates. Estimates are used for appropriation, are not intended to be exact. Being able to estimate cost of materials for a job, the amount of time needed to perform a certain task requires time and experience, and that does. All right, we're going to go to the example. Let me clear my screen. Or let's just go new. Let's see. Okay. An electrician estimates material for a certain job will cost $120. When the job is finished, it is found that the actual cost of materials is $112.16. The actual amount is what percent of the estimate. So that he said it's going to cost $120. That's his estimate. The actual cost of the job and materials was $112. 112.16. All right, we're going to divide 120 by that 112.16, and it's going to give us, I think it's going to be like 0.94 and some numbers. We're just going to call it, I'm sorry, point. Let me undo that. Point. Let me figure it on my calculator here real quick, guys. Hang on a sec. Anybody can figure it before I can shout it out.
Yeah, I got it right here. It's a big number though.
It's 0.9346.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we want to put that in percent, so and round it up. So we'll move the decimal over 2 spots, and so 9.9346 is going to become. We're just going to call that 93.5%. We just rounded that 46 up to 5, so it's 9.9. It's 93.5%. Okay, and they want to know what the actual amount within percent estimate was. So you're going to subtract 93.5 from 100, and that's going to give you. He was within what, 6.5%. Pretty simple stuff.
Yeah. You know, you do this, and probably almost all linemen do this. You notice how he changed the 93.46 to 93.5? You see how he did that?
Yes.
That's pretty much standard across the industry. Whenever you're estimating or whatever you're rounding, round up. Don't ever round down. I think if he was at 93.41, I would probably still round it up to 93.5. It's better to have than have not.
Right. Thank you, sir. Okay, guys, there's some practical problems in here in the book. I'm gonna hit the first one here. It says the amount of power used in an electrical maintenance shop are as follows. And we'll go into a little detail on this in just a second. For the month of April, it was 41.2. May was 59.25. Sorry about my handwriting. June, 53.63. July, 62.4. August, 63.75. And September was 30.35 kilowatt hours. And I'll read it out now. The amount of power used in electrical maintenance shop are as follows. April was 41.2 kilowatt hours. May, 59.25 kilowatt hours. June, 53.63 kilowatt hours. July, 62.4 kilowatt hours. August, 63.75 kilowatt hours. September is 30.35 kilowatt hours. What is the average monthly power usage? Express the answer into the nearest 100s. So what we're going to do is add all those up. If somebody's got a calculator, can somebody add all that up for me?
Yeah. It's like 360. I already got the average of it, but
What's this add up to be right here?
I'm pretty sure it's 316.52 or something, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember.
316.52.
I believe so.
Now what we're going to divide that by?
6.
6. What does that give us?
51.763333.
51.76 is your answer, what you're looking for, kilowatt hours. Does everybody understand what kWh is, kilowatt hours?
Did we go over that one?
Well, I don't know if this is what you're going to learn.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me minimize this back or go to. I got a little video I want to show you. Just give me a sec to get through my videos here. All right. This is a little video about kilowatt hour meter. It kind of explains a little bit of how you can figure how much usage you have on your house. But a kilowatt hour meter is what is used to track how much power you use at your home or business or whatever every month. And this is how they figure how much your bill is going to be. So let's watch this little video. It's about 4 minutes.
Yeah, good afternoon, YouTube. I just wanted to make this little video to show how to read one of these digital meters. This is not a smart meter per se. They're actually going to upgrade our service here in the next year, I think, to actual smart meters. But this one was put in probably 10 years ago. It's a digital meter versus the old analog. So it's an Itron CL200. Your number up here is your kilowatt hours. The meter flashes every 10 seconds. And if you can see down here, there's some little dots and they're going towards the right. And there's 3 little dots, and each time a dot turns on or off is 1 watt hour. So there's actually 3 dots. So they come on 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots moving to the right, and then the left dot will turn off, the middle dot turns off, and the right dot turns off. So that's a total of 6 watt hours. And what you can do is, if you want to see how many watts you're using at the current time, is count how many flashes on the display you get for 1 dot to either come on or go off. Okay, here we go. So there's 1, so that's the start. So there's 1 whole cycle. So it took roughly 1 cycle, which is 10 seconds. That means 1 watt hour was used in 10 seconds, 6 watt hours in a minute, and 360 watt hours in an hour if it were to stay at that rate. So that's how you can work out the power usage. And if your dots are going to the left, that means power is flowing out of your house, but normally that's not the case. It's always flowing from the left to the right, and that shows power flowing in. So you can see it's gone through a whole cycle now. It's gone from 1 dot to 2 dots to 3 to 2 to 1 back to 0. Just like counting your pulse, you've got the timer there, 10 seconds, at least on this meter. Other meters might have a different rate, but just count the number of flashes of the main digits for 1 dot change, or if the dots are changing quicker than the kilowatt hour number flashes, count how many dots change in 10 seconds. Do whichever one is the easier one to count. And the other thing you can do is you can take a reading, say first thing in the morning, and then take a reading the next day about the same time, and you can get your day-to-day usage, and then divide those kilowatt hours that you used in a day by 24, and that will give your average power consumption. And then with this, by watching those dots change, you can get your instantaneous power consumption, and then you can see if you're above or below the average. So that's a pretty handy little tip there if you want to figure out what kind of power you're using.
Okay. Guys, that is just about, that's exactly right, really, on that video. That's the kind of meters we used at Duke until they went to the smart meters. I know Professor Shoemaker has a smart meter at his house, and he can track his usage by that. But guys, this is a very good piece of equipment they put in the field. Let me back up a little bit right here. I'm going to show you another meter. This is an electromechanical meter, kilowatt. This is I'm not gonna play the whole video. I just want to play the first of it right
Disney
here.
Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus now bundled together. The greatest stories and characters, the largest. Hey everyone.
What this does, and I'll skip to get it on over this part right here,
Inside there,
where they put current on this meter.
Connected in such a way that only 4 come out. And so I'll unscrew all of this and then take the actual meter out.
Not yet, you won't. You back up, I went a little too far.
The cover is marked line and load. And if we take this off, we can see that there's 4 terminals here. And I have it set up like this so that the neutrals are in the middle and the hots are on the outside here. And then this is a commercial power meter, so it actually has a little latch here. And so if you move the latch out, we can unscrew this glass top and have that come off.
All right, I thought he was gonna put some current through it, but he does a little bit later. But see this dial right here? This meter's got like a little transformer inside of it. And what it does, whenever you turn on lights or something in your house, this little disc right here, this little metal disc will start to spin. The more current goes through this meter, the faster it spins. So if you turn on your dryer or your stove, of course, that's high usage appliances in your house, it's really going to spin really fast. And if we go back to the other video with the electrical meter, the little dots that were moving from left to right, that took the place of this dial for this meter. It's more, I guess, more economical for them now. And you would think that this stuff costs a lot of money, but they used to tell us that those digital meters were about 25 bucks. So it was pretty cheap to change them out to the newer meters. So they got rid of, most companies got rid of these mechanical meters. I think, I'm not really sure if Santee Cooper still has them out there, but I think Ori Electric might have a few I've seen out there, but Duke Energy's changed them out to all the smart meters now.
I got a question. So
What?
is that like the kind of the same deal as like the last video you just showed us?
This meter here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. This is just the old.
I mean, I understand this one, but the last one you showed me, I had no idea what was going on from the beginning, honestly.
Well,
What he was trying to explain, because I couldn't see what he was trying to explain to me. So it's like,
if you take the concept here, and it is kind of hard to,
Sorry.
it's kind of hard to see in the video. The one he had with the dials on it, that's called an analog meter.
Right.
And the one he showed first was a digital. The analog meter had the turning disc, and you can actually watch how many times that disc turns in a minute to get kilowatt hours. Take that turning disc and just go over, and on a digital meter, those are the 3 dots that are moving.
okay. So how do the dots move relative to the disc?
It depending on how much power that you consume or how much current's flowing through the meter, the dots are going to move faster or the disc is going to move faster.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you're at a place and you know where your meter is outside, go look at it with, there's nothing on in your house today, not much, maybe a light bulb or 2. Go out there, look at your meter, see how fast it's spinning, how fast those dots are moving. Go back inside. If they're not moving that much, go back in, turn the dryer on, turn the oven on, then go back outside, and it should have sped up a right good bit so you can see the difference in your usage.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
Yeah, I want to put another comment in there once you get done sharing here.
Okay.
Okay. You remember the question we had, was it the last test or the test before? First one, where we had, and this always kind of messed with my mind when I was working with meters and whatnot. I'm thinking, well, how much money does it cost per kilowatt hour?
Yeah.
And how do we get a solution to that? We took the 0.88 and we multiplied it by 0.071, right?
Right.
That told us how much we were paying per kilowatt hour. Just remember, it doesn't have to be a kilowatt before it registers. So when we put 0.88 kilowatt hours, that's actually 880 watts. Does that kind of give you relation? If we had a 1.0, that would have been 1 kilowatt hour. but we didn't use a kilowatt in an hour. We used only 0.88.
Yeah.
It is a good thing to understand out there, guys, when you're working for your organizations, because customers will walk up to you all the time and they'll ask you, how much is the cost of power per kilowatt hour? That's a good thing and it changes regularly.
Right.
Is to know what your company's cost per kilowatt hour is in case the customer asks you. And I can guarantee the next question is going to be, my power bill is too high.
Yeah.
Okay. What can we do to prevent that? I'm going to share a screen also here right now. I know we're staying a little bit on math, we're getting a little bit off tangent. Just because these types of meters are still out there in the world, let me get one that's, now, if you run into a meter like this, see all the zeros that are going across? Really easy to read. Okay, the digital meter that Professor V showed with the number 64382, whatever it was, very easy to read. If a customer wants you to read a analog meter, and I'll go ahead and make this big on the screen.
Thank you.
Let's see, open image and new tab. There it is. How do you read a meter?
Left or right?
Yeah, left or right, probably.
Well,
Or
there's different techniques, and I'm glad Professor V said it here.
Yeah.
I always read mine from right to left.
Mm-hmm.
I always go from bottom up. This dial turns clockwise.
Yeah.
Clockwise, is that right? Yeah, clockwise, 0 to 1, 2 to 3. Yeah, on this meter, they all turn clockwise. You always read by this number and then go uphill. So I want to make it huge here.
There you go.
All right, where is this dial at here? Between 0 and what?
1. So it's about 0.5 or so.
So it's still 0.
Okay.
Okay. Where is this dial? Between 2 and what?
3. It'll be at
That's
2.
0, 2. Correct.
Yeah.
Where's this dial? Between 8 or 9?
Almost looks a little closer.
It's almost halfway between 8.
But yeah, it'd be 8 probably, wouldn't it?
Okay, so 0, 2, 8.
8,
Where's this one? Between 1 and 2?
1.
1. And where's this one at? Between 6 and 7?
Yeah, that's a 6.
That's a 6. 6, 1, 8, 2, 0.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense now.
Okay. All right, and here's you see the red portion right here on the disc. That lets you know. I think that's 1 watt.
Okay.
So that thing's spinning real slow. That lets you know you used 1 watt every time it hits the red. Every time if it's going by real nuclear fast,
Yeah.
can't even count it. Okay. Also, when you look at your meters, you can see a lot of information on them.
Yep.
What's the voltage?
240.
How many wires?
3.
All right. What's the frequency? We'll talk about this
60.
later. 60. All right. The big thing, and I think the reason, and Professor V could probably attest to this too, the big reason why we went away from analog meters is they can be cheated pretty easily.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Yep, there used to be a lot of meter tampering out there, guys. I used to go on a lot of calls for that. People would unplug these meters, invert them, they would turn them upside down, and they would spin backwards. And it would, reverse. It's kind of like what they said, you change your odometer on the car, where they would put it up on blocks, the old odometers, they put it up on blocks and throw it in reverse and let it run till it reached whatever mileage on the odometer it read. But same thing with those analog meters. You could plug them in upside down, they would spin backwards and reverse. The only problem with that is once a month, the meter reader would come around, they would find it. In my case here in Andrews, when I found stuff like that before we switched over to the digital meters like that, we could prosecute the customer for stealing.
Yeah.
And that's revenues for your company. Your company's losing right there. So really proactive on that.
The first time, I think the first time that you're caught doing something like that, we're going to fine you for the amount of power that you used. And we're just going to go back on an average of your bills.
Right.
So if it was 1 month, we're going to charge you for that 1 month of electricity and fine you. The next one's $3,000.
Mhm.
So, and I mean, there are some things to look out for here. People have taken Dremels and Dremel into the side, and you could put a stick in here and actually stop the disc from moving.
Yeah.
You can pull the meter out and put nails in the sockets and then put the meter right back on top of it. So it travels through the nails and not the meter.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different techniques. I think the best one that I probably saw was, and it actually took more power to do it than it was to do it, is the guy wrapped the meter in a coil of wire and created a magnetic field. And actually the dial just jittered back and forth, even though he's using power.
Yeah, there's also on the back of those old meters, I'm not sure if they're on the new meters or not, but there's a shunt on the back of them. And then people, if you don't know what you're looking for, it's there. You can actually loosen the screw, move the shunt over, and it'll stop that dial from spinning. We actually had an electrician that knew that, and he took his meter out at the house, put 2 little wires in it, ran it into his panel box in his house, and put a toggle switch on it, and he would toggle that switch open like a couple times a month. And they went to changes. They periodically changed out meters, and just so happened it was his time for his meter to be changed out. They pulled it, found wires. The guy would not admit to it. He blamed it on his wife. He said, take her to jail. So he eventually fessed up, and he paid a large fine. And but there's a lot of ways to hoodoo a power company.
Yep, that's the truth. All right. One thing before, what time we have here? 9:43.
Yeah.
One thing and to remember here, guys, what makes either a digital meter or an analog meter, what makes the dots move, or what makes the disc spin? What type of electricity? Voltage, power, or current?
Current.
Current. Current must flow for a meter to turn.
Exactly.
Okay, Professor B,
Let's take a break.
it sounds like a plan to me.
9:43. So let's do what? 9:55.
Sounds good.
10:4. 9:55, guys.
Let me resume that recording. I want to share a screen. Let me know if you can see it, V.
Got it?
Let's see, academics, A through Z. I want to go to electrical lineman technician. And all right. So open image and new tab. Kind of hard to tell in this guy. This is one of my students that I had in my class. He asked the same exact question. This is about 4 years ago. Now, as far as his work was concerned, and his both his in-class work and his outside work was concerned, this guy was spot on, and he had his business together. But I can tell you one thing, and this is back when we were back in the classroom. The first day he walked into the classroom, he had this scraggly beard going on, and I can't remember the name of it. What are those hula hoops that you wear in your ear?
Were they like gauges or something?
There you go, gauges. He had gauges in his ear. He had one of those, you know, bull type nose rings going through there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's tatted. He's got tattoos on his arms and whatnot. And to be honest with you, kind of scared me. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, we went through the course and he asked the same exact question. And he said, you know, do you think my appearance was going to affect me getting a job in a company? So I gave this explanation to him. And this is getting more and more prevalent out there. A lot of companies are kind of downplaying their internet marketing and their, what do you call it? Like, you know, sign marketing and magazines and whatnot. And they're putting a lot of reliance on their employees in the field and asking them to be sort of like walking billboards.
Yeah.
You know, so they want you to dress smartly. They want you to look smartly.
Oh yeah.
They want you to be clean. And, you know, when I say clean, sometimes it's okay if you're dirty. If you walk in someplace that somebody sees you, says, yeah, that man's working.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put it back to you. Do you think you would be presentable to a customer? And I'll give you me as a reference, that's 60 years old and is not really kind of used to all that stuff. What do you think?
Honestly, like I'm definitely gonna cut my hair for sure. It's
Okay.
about halfway down my back right now. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely cut my hair for sure. Like my beard and mustache, I usually keep it trimmed, so I ain't got to worry about too much of that. But
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. You're talking about being presentable. Now, Robbie, we didn't have any policies for tattoos unless the tattoo was bad.
Right.
We asked the employee to cover it up. How about y'all?
That's right.
personally, I don't have any. But you know,
I mean, it's they didn't harp on us too much, but at the start, you know, years ago when I started, they kind of, my supervisor, if your appearance started getting to be a little shabby, he'd pull you into the office and say, hey, how about, you know, you need to shave more, you need to, you know, keep yourself better groomed, those kinds of things. And but we'd go to different places, like we'd go, especially in the wintertime, we'd go up to the mountains up to Asheville to work. And those guys, I mean, those were mountain men when we worked. And a lot of, I mean, they had big burly beards, and some of them had a little bit longer hair. And then we'd come back and tell our supervisor, hey, well, they got a beard and they got long hair. And he said, but this is what we need for you to present to our customers in this area. This is what they're looking for. Yeah. So you are the walking billboard for your company. Whatever you wear, of course, you wear a FR uniform, and you're expected to present yourself in a way that be respectable for the company you work for.
You're wearing the company logo, you're wearing the company colors, and your name is on your shirt. So,
yep, you're riding around in a billboard all day long, and And don't think that people don't notice, because they do. They'll call in on the slightest thing that offends them,
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and they will try to drag you down some.
Yeah, sadly, yeah, that's the way it is, unfortunately. But
It is what it is. If you're doing the right thing, and you're gonna be okay.
See, I'm looking at Eric. I'm looking at Timothy Thomas and Blake Brown. I mean, you guys look, sharp. You look good and clean cut and everything like that. That's fine and dandy.
Right.
Reginald too. That's fine as long as you look presentable. Now, I don't want you to look like ZZ Top
Yep.
for one. And do remember, out there in the world, hair is flammable.
oh yeah, definitely so.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that part? It's a good question.
It is
Mm-hmm.
very good.
And I mean, I'll just wrap it up with this. Let Professor V get on. When you go into restaurants, I mean, you're going to go in as a crew. When you go into a restaurant and you go into a store, watch your language, and be courteous to other people, even though sometimes they're not courteous to you. It's pretty bad when you see a rabble of employees walk into an organization and you just hear the language goes skyrocketing. In a bad way, or you start talking about, each other's wives or girlfriends, or, just keep it clean. Keep it clean.
Yeah, you don't want to group together and look like a bunch of Hell's Angels and sound like them and all. You don't want to scare the public. You just want to be good.
Well, I know we're kind of going a little bit of rabbit hole on this.
Yeah.
Our office was our service center was on 10th Avenue North in Myrtle Beach. And we had a new convenience store open up. And I mean, this place was nice. And of course, I didn't think anything about it. I left the service center, drove by this convenience store, and there's 14 fleets outside and, 20 employees inside. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Spread it out, because everybody driving by that store is thinking, well, what the heck? What's Santee Cooper doing today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Professor V, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, and one last example I'll give you of the public's perception, and this was the days before I went to work with the power company. I actually worked for Tree Crew that we trimmed by the power lines for the power company, but we had to go door to door, ask customers if we could come in the yard. We didn't have uniforms back then. This was back in the mid-early 80s, and I went up to the door, knocked on the door, nobody had come, so I went and told my foreman I couldn't get nobody. He walked up there, knocked on the door, and the customer came to the door. And he asked her, why didn't you come to the door when my guy came? She said, well, he looked rough. So, yeah, so I mean, I looked a little rough. I had a pretty good sized beard at the time, and it was I was a whole lot younger. It was scraggly, I didn't look like somebody she wanted on her front porch.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll end it with that, and we'll jump back in this math stuff. You guys got the meter stuff pretty good. Is everybody everybody taking notes right now? Pretty much, because I want you to write this stuff down. I want you to give me the answer to it.
I usually take notes on like the stuff that's I can usually take a picture of, but that meter stuff, it's like I could take a picture of it and
No, I want you to
relax on it.
A couple of you guys, if you got something, if you're taking notes, write this question down, and I want you to figure it out for me. Give me the answer real quick, okay? And I can repeat this answer. It's number 3 on page 99 if you're in the book. It says an electrician earns $25.30 per hour. Oh, Professor Shoemaker's putting it up for me. Thank you, sir. During 1 week, the electrician works during 1 week, the electrician works these hours. On Mondays, he works 8 hours. On Tuesdays, he works 7 hours. Wednesday, he works 5.5 hours. Thursday, 10 hours. Friday is 4.5 hours. That's 5 days. That's 1 week, work week. Now, what is the average daily earning?
What'd you say Wednesday was? 5.5?
5.5.
All right. So can you hear my voice?
I can hear you.
Okay. Did you want them to work this?
Yeah, I mean, to start with you, I like to see who can figure it out real quick.
Okay. I'm keep my mouth shut then.
Shout it out when you get an answer, guys. We want to know what the average daily earning is for this. Anybody?
177.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 77.
All right, well, now that you're coming out with the answers, I'm gonna try it on my own here.
Okay.
8 plus 7 is 15.
Is that for a week?
That's, yeah.
Average
Oh,
day,
okay. That'll be 885.5.
No, this is average.
Oh, okay.
Average pay.
daily.
How much
Oh,
you,
okay.
how much you gonna earn a day?
Okay, so I'm gonna go 8 and 7 is 15. 15 and 5.5 is 20.5. 30.5. 34.5 plus the 0.5 equals 35.
Okay.
Multiply that by 25. 30 equals. Okay, break out my calculator. Clear. Bam, 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 bam. 35 times 25.30 equals 885.
Yeah, okay, I was right. I forgot we were making more than a day.
No, they won't.
All right, I've got how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's divided by 5.
Couldn't you just divide the 35 by 5 and then multiply it to 25?
Let me answer this, stranger.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it that way, guys. That's exactly the way I did it. It was 35. I divided it by 5 days. Worked average of 7 hours a day. Then I multiplied the 7 hours by 25.30 and came up with 177.10. Is that what y'all got? Of course.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Well, the way Professor Shoemaker did it, I'm sure it came up with the same answer. So that's averages. So in percentages. Anybody got any questions about that, or they want to hit that again, or if not, we're going to move on. Okay. Let's flip on over to Unit 21. That's on page 101. Very, very short unit here. And it says combined problems on percents, averages, and estimates. And it says this unit provides practical problems involving combined problems on percents, averages, and estimates. And an example is over the last 5 years, an electrician misses the following number of work per year: 7, 4, 5, 5, and 4. What is the average number of days missed per year? Find the sum of the numbers. So what they did, they added 7 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4. That equals 25. And then divide the number of total days by the number of years. So remember, it said over the last 5 years, they've missed the following number of days of work per year. And so he divided 25 by 5, and it gave an average of 5 number of days missed. Okay, and that was over a 5-year period. Everybody, that's pretty cut and dry, pretty plain and simple, guys. Let's see.
Hey, Professor V,
Yo ho.
what exactly were we looking for right then?
We were looking for an average of the number of days within 5 years that the worker missed over a 5-year period, the number of days.
Okay, cool.
And that's what they did. They added, it was 7, 4, 5, 5, and 4. He added those numbers up, which came to be 25. And then he divided that number by the number of years, which was 5, and it came up with an average of 5.
Gotcha.
All right, Professor Shoemaker, did you have anything you want to add to the previous equation?
No, sir.
Okay. Practical problem. Let's see. we did that with it. Like I said, this is a very short unit, number 21. Anything you want to add to unit 21? We just did an estimate over missed days over 5 years to calculate an average of how many days were missed on that.
I'm good to go with that.
Okay. We'll go on over to section 5, guys. And if any time that you think we're going too fast, it's no problem to stop us and we'll back up. But this stuff kind of rolls, some of it rolls through pretty fast. So, and then we've got it recording so you can go back and look at the recording as well. All right, unit 22, powers and roots. The basic principles of power. The power of a number is also known as an exponent. If the number is squared, for example, it is raised to the second power, or it has the exponent of 2. The exponent of the small number written above and to the right of the number as shown. I think Professor Shoemaker is going to do as shown. This means that the number is multiplied by itself. So if you've got 5 to the second power, you're going to multiply that number by itself. 5 times 5, correct. And that's going to give us 25, okay? Notice that the number is not multiplied by 2, but it is multiplied by itself, okay? Let's look at another one. If a number is cubed or the multiplier is 3, it means that it is raised to the third power. It has an exponent of 3, so 8 to the third power. And that's going to be 8 times 8 times 8. So guys, what's 8 times 8?
24.
512.
12.
8 times
Yeah,
24.
wait, yeah, 60.
64.
Yeah.
That'll be 192.
512. Who said 512?
I do. Terry.
Terry.
Yeah.
8 times 8 is 64. 60,
Yep. 8 times 8.
64 times 8. 512.
Yep.
Okay. Guys, watch out on that one. It's not 8 times 3. It's
Yeah.
8 times 8 times 8. Work it left to right.
Left to right. Okay. Now let's look at one more. It has let's put 6 to the 5th power. And so that's going to be 6 times 5 times 5. I mean 6 times 6 times 6 times 6.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So 6 times 6.
7,776.
36.
Times 6 is 216. Times 6 is 1296. Times 6 is 7,776. Okay, 7,776. And I mean, just kind of looking at it, if you don't got your, mind in the right place, sometimes you might just hit 6 times 5. But remember, when it's the little number in the right top side of the bigger number, that you're multiplying by itself 5 times or whatever number that is. Any questions about powers? And I could give you an example. Guys, if you look at the your Ohm's law chart, there's one equation in here. You're trying to find watts. You can either find it 2 ways, I squared R or E squared divided by R.
Let me know which one you're going to use.
Let's do I squared 2 times R. No, P equals I squared times R.
Thank you.
And guys, what is P?
Power.
Oh,
Or what, how's represented in what?
Watts.
Watts, W-A-T-T-S, watts, not W-H-A-T-S, but watts. And it's equal to I, what is I?
Amps.
amps.
Current, that's right, amps. And then R is what?
Ohms.
Resistance.
Resistance or ohms, it's measured in ohms, that's correct. So if we have I squared R, P equals power, that's correct. I is equal to amps and R is ohms or resistance, correct. So if we're looking for P and we have 7 amps squared times resistance is R. So a good resistance would be what, Professor Shoemaker?
I will say 100.
100. Okay. So somebody figure that out real quick.
49,000.
4,900.
49.
That's something.
So 7 times 7 is 49 times 100 is what?
4,900. Oh,
Nope. So
That's
40.
49.
What is P?
1,000.
And what's it?
49,000
Watts.
Watts. 4,900 watts.
4,900.
Okay. Just make sure, guys, like we talked about yesterday, that whenever you do an equation that you put P as watts, I as amps, resistance is ohms, and the volts would be V. It's not E, even though it says E on the pie chart, it's going to be represented with a V for volts. Okay. Guys, got any questions about roots?
what were you asking for? I didn't hear what you were asking for.
For the watts.
Okay, got you. Gotcha.
Okay. 10-4. Okay. And everybody's good with that. Let's move over to unit 23. And it is 1018. The principle of roots, the root number is the opposite or inverse of its power. Square root of a number is determined by finding which number used as a factor twice will equal the given number. The square root of 36 is 6 because 6 squared equals 36. So does everybody understand that process?
Yeah.
That is, so the square root of 36 is what? Anybody? Y'all remember square roots in high school?
6 to the second power.
6 to the second power. Okay. 6 times 6 is 36. So how would you, Professor Shoemaker, how would you write that out? Square root of 36, I mean.
I already did.
Where's it at?
It's
Your
not in
screen?
here.
No. Oh,
I
no.
see.
Can't see it. It's froze up on my side.
Okay. 36 equals, and I'll just say it out. 36 equals 6 times 6 or
Yeah.
6 squared. You just
Right.
gotta remember in square roots, the numbers that you use have got to be identical.
Right.
6 times 6.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add to that, Professor Shoemaker?
No, sir.
Okay, I got some practical problems here. If you guys can figure out what is the square root of 81?
9.
9. Okay, 9 times 9. What's the square root of 100?
10 times 10.
Say again?
10.
10? How about 169?
13.
Square root of 169 is 13. How about the square root of 361? Got it.
19.
19. One more. Give me the square root for 529.
23.
23.
23.
23 times 23 is not 529. I don't think, is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
529 it is.
There you go.
I think.
Professor Shoemaker, you got any problems on the top of your head that you could throw into that one to the root?
No, and if we were going to the quizzes or tests that we're using for this is what we do anyway. This is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about are there any other questions about that? And to show the square root of 529, you would put 529 and then that would be almost like the divide symbol over the top of it. That's what you would see for the square root. So combined, let's go into unit 24, combined operations with power and roots. And this will probably be close to maybe the last unit that we'll go through for today, maybe 25. No, that's metric. So basic principles of combined operations with powers and roots. This unit provides practical problems involving combined operations with powers and roots. Powers or exponents are a convenient way to indicate the number of times quantity is to be multiplied by itself. The root or the number is the inverse of this power. So let's, the first example that's in the book, calculate 2 to the 6th powers. And that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That equals 64. And then right up under that, we want to calculate the square root of 169. Which is what, 13 by 13? So the square root of 169 is 13. So let's calculate, we're going to combine the operation now. We're going to go calculate the square root of 10 to the 2nd power over 4.
What page are you on?
10 to the 2nd power?
Divided by 4.
Correct.
Okay, that's pretty simple.
Over 4.
So let's go work this. 10 to the 2nd.
Would it be 25?
Over
5.
Yep.
So I'm going to write it out in the direction that I would head.
Right.
All right. I'm just going to go square root of 100.
Yep.
Of 4.
Right.
100 divided by 4.
I like DoorDash some food. You want somewhere? What do you mean? DoorDash, get some food.
So you end up with what?
Like DoorDash to here? Yeah. What would you get?
What time is it?
25.
25.
Yeah. So no, make sure you, when we're doing this, and what we're asking for in the question is the square root of 25.
Yeah, they want the square root.
5.
Yes.
The square root of 25 equals 5. There you go. Thank you.
Right.
5.
Yep.
Excellent. Who's door dashing?
Who's that?
I don't know. DoorDash at 10:24. My goodness.
Okay. Any questions about that? That's pretty simple stuff. All right. Rick, anything you want to add to that one?
Not to that one. I do want to go ahead and I'll talk about it here if you want me to go into the page 122.
122, okay, go ahead.
If you can kill the person that's got the background noise.
Is that Reggie? Yep.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. So on page 122, for those of you that don't have your book, it's got a huge old chart going on there of the metric measurements that are going to be out there in the world. You don't need to know that whole chart. Lyman don't work in the millis, micros, nanos, and picos. That's for engineers. But the designations that you are going to have to know and are used very regularly are G, and this is metric measurements, equals giga. Giga is billions.
Hello?
M. Mega equals millions. K, we should know this one by now, equals what? Thousands. Oh, sorry about that. Let me clear that off. And go back to drawing again. Kilo, thousands. You won't see much out here in the industry of the giga in the United States. Now in India and China, they do have gigavolt lines, transmission lines. So 1 gigavolt equals what?
1 billion.
1 billion volts, right. 1 megavolt equals how many volts?
1 million.
1 million volts, and 1 kilovolt equals 1,000 volts. Okay, as long as you know those designations. Now those will go all into the other values right here. That'll also include P, power, V, volts, and I, amps. So any of these designations, I can have kilo amps, I can have kilovolts and kilowatts. I can have mega amps, I can have megavolts and megawatts. I can have giga amps, gigavolts, and gigawatts. You need to know those designations right there. And know what the symbols that they stand for. E, M, and K. Okay. Any questions there? All right. Professor V, anything else? There's a couple of other administrative things I'd like to take care of.
Yeah, can I just add to that what you're talking about with the kilovolts and the kV? And I just want to talk a minute about primary voltages. And we're not, of course, if you guys go in and look on your back on the first day notes, you should have common fuse sizes in the Ohm's law chart. And common fuse sizes, I'm gonna share my screen real quick with you. Won't take but a minute here. And just, you see that? You guys see my chart here? It says common primary voltages in kV.
It's coming up, right?
All right, that on that sheet, that's what you're going to see. And I'll print this out for you guys and give you some handouts if y'all want it next week when we meet on Tuesday. But this is the voltages. Let me get my cursor over here if y'all can see my cursor. These are the common voltages, primary voltages that are used in the industry. At Duke, our common voltage was 23 kV. That was phase-to-phase voltage, and 13,200 volts phase to ground. We also use 12 kV. Right here, we're going to call 12.47 kV, and then 7.2 kV. That's the primary two voltages that Duke uses. That now we did have some up in Wilmington along the coast, some 34.5 and some 19.9 kV, but you'll notice the 19.9 kV, that's kilovolts, 13.2 kilovolts with 7.2. And you'll hear us use probably 7,200 at 7.2 is going to be the most common voltage that we'll use when we start, figuring out what amperages are and load and all that stuff. So just wanted to throw that little bit at you, kind of introduce you to some primary voltages out there, on the systems.
Those, to a reminder, are also in D2L already, this chart.
Right. Okay. That's all I wanted to throw out. Anybody got any questions about any of that?
Yeah, I want to expand on what we're talking about since you've thrown those up.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and unshare.
Okay.
It's guys, it's paying close attention to the questions that you got and the answers that you give. Let me clear this off. Sometimes you'll get a question to calculate, in Ohm's law, calculate a voltage, and we'll ask at the end of that question your answer in kV or MV. Make sure that you do the conversion before you give that answer. So what I mean by, converting from kV to MV or whatever you need to do, what we've been doing thus far is we've been taking like a voltage number, and I'll just give you a voltage number right here, and we've been saying 7,200. But I want my answer in kV. How do I figure that out? Watch me. 10, 100, 1,000. Where does my decimal end up at? Between the 7 and the
2.
So you just converted that to 7.2 kV. All right, make sure when you read the question, read it thoroughly. What is my voltage in volts? It's just gonna be plain, 7,200. What is my voltage in kilovolts? Is 7.2. That's one example. All right, here's another one. What is this number in kV?
199,000.
kV.
Right.
19.9.
19. There you go. 19.9 kV. Okay, I just want to pass
19.9 kV.
Right, 19.9 kV. One more. What is that voltage in kV?
34.5.
34.5 kV.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. I just want to get that information and make sure you're able to convert. And the simple way to do it. Well, I got a lot of feedback, don't I?
Yeah.
10, 100, 1,000. New decimal place. 7.2 kV. Okay, I'm done there, Professor B.
I'm done.
That's today.
Anybody got any questions about what we've gone over today? Okay.
I'm not done with you yet. We talked about note taking. I just want to pass this on to you guys. I'm going to share another screen here. I know this takes a little bit of time and it might be past the quiz that you've taken, but you can always reference back to it. Screen 1, share. But I wanted to give you directions on this. Give me a second. I've found, especially during exams, or if you need to reference something back, that this has been a great helper to some of the students, and I'll give you directions for it. Everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's white now, I understand, but all right, it's going to come up to the dashboard, so mine's going to look a little bit different. I had 58 students to the last class that subscribed. We're only up to 70. So if you guys could subscribe to the channel, it'll help you out as far as notifications are concerned. So if you have not subscribed.
The YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel, yep. When I send out that link every day, there's a can't even say the word. There's a subscribe button. So I'm going to bring up this video, and I'm going to bring it up in the normal YouTube. Okay, it's going to show up here because I've already been in progress on it. All right, don't worry about the video playing itself at all here. I've actually got it on mute. All right, you'll notice here, if you want to watch the YouTube, it's got closed captioning. Okay, so you can read all the words that I say, and I have to admit, this is pretty reliable right here. The part that I've seen to enjoy and students seem to enjoy is if you miss the video, you see these 3 dots right here? Open transcript. Today. I got 5 kids in the house that are online or on Zoom. All right. You see how now you've got a transcription right here of everything that was said in the meeting. So what they have done in there, they'll be sitting on the test and they'll say, well, what did Professor Shoemaker say about Ohm's law? Go up to the 3 dots that are here on the upper side of the browser. Find Ohm's law. And it will highlight every situation where I said Ohm's law in the conversation of the video. That way you can just go, this really, gentlemen, note taking is done for you. I'm not going to say don't take notes on paper at the moment that you're inside the classroom, but if you need to ever reference back, this is a great tool to use. How many times did I say power? 22 times, and I'm on the 9th one. Well, what does power stand for? I equals current, amps. So I just want to let you know that that tool is out there for you guys to use if you want to use it. Okay. Any questions on that part?
No, sir.
All right. One last thing before we go. Professor V, did you want to give a quiz today?
No, let's wait till Monday or Tuesday.
All right, we'll wait till Tuesday then. Sorry, Terry.
Hey, I wasn't asking for one. I was just, I mean, you know, I don't mind at all. Not having one.
One last thing we'll talk about here, when we discussed a little bit when Professor V was, and it came to my mind, when we were talking about customers and customer interaction and you guys, you know, looking good and all that kind of stuff. There are do's and don'ts out there in the world. And one of the most important is never, ever go into a customer's home or residence. Now, Professor V is familiar with this. If you need to go into the yard and do repairs, check their meter, whatever you need to do, be courteous and knock on the door first and get them to the door and let them know what you're doing so they're not frightened by who you are. But if nobody comes to the door, you are allowed as a utility worker to go beyond a fence or anything to affect repairs or do whatever you need to do, because that is a safety hazard actually to the customer if you don't get it repaired. All right. There is watch out for animals. Yep. We had back in the day plenty of dog bites out there in the world. So if there's an animal back there, make all efforts possible to go ahead and get the customer there. You might have to actually call the dispatchers to see if you get a phone number to the account of that person. But last but not least, and they will try to tempt you. Hey, sweetie, yeah, come on into my house and I'll show you what's wrong. Never, right? Never ever go into a customer's house. Never ever accept, how do you want to put it, favors or money from
I've heard stories about that.
For work that you're going to perform. Never ever do it. I have to admit, it is tempting, and they will throw out a lot of things at you. Don't ever do it.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Mr. V?
Only thing I can think of is Monday. We're off Monday and be at the field on Tuesday, 9 a.m. sharp.
Monday, hit the field on Tuesday. I will, give a remind text on Monday that you're supposed to be out there Tuesday. If anything does come up, like bad weather, I mean, really bad weather, or he can't make it, I will text you and let you know. Before we leave, comments about, we've done this for a year now. Comments and questions about online work.
Anybody?
Any
It's
particular?
actually not bad because you're doing breaks like every 30 or so minutes. But if we had to sit on here from 8 to 4, that would be
Yeah.
absolutely absurd.
Well, to be honest with you, when we're we're missing a little bit of field time, but that's because of all Horry County schools can't go to school. So this is typically what you get in a classroom. Of course, we just take a break, we go outside, have a drink or whatnot, or do whatever we need to come back to the classroom. This is what you're going to see in a regular classroom. It's just from a distance. But in our efforts here, and our department chair, he said he's huge on communication. He wants to stay in touch with you guys and make sure everything's okay. But I just want to make sure that as far as your experience thus far, and then you'll have more experience, that I don't want to leave anybody out there that doesn't have an unanswered question to what we've done thus far.
Right.
Okay. So if you don't feel comfortable of sitting in a room here full of people and asking a question, by all means, we are on in the afternoon. Come back to us. Be glad to help you out. Use the remind service, use Zoom. We are, I would hope to be, and give me your opinion if we're not, accommodating, and we want you guys to have a good grade and a good certificate. So if there's anything that you see we can improve on, let us know. If you need us, we're here. I just want to emphasize that every day.
Yeah.
Anything else, Professor B?
Yep. Two things. First of all, I'm not sure how far along you'll get it, but you'll probably get an email before long from a Pam Spink with a class survey. They write us pretty hard to let you guys fill those surveys out. And also, Mr. Rowland, if you would you hang around after we get done?
Okay. And guys,
Question, Mr. Shoemaker.
all right, guys, on those surveys, we don't know who sends them in.
Yep, they're anonymous.
It's just an all-encompassing answer to the survey. So if Dylan Rogers doesn't like my breath, he can put that down, whatever the case may be. Okay, so put down what you do. And some things that I would probably include that I've seen this far is some of you had some difficulties logging into WaveNet. Put it down. Okay, put it down. All right, that's all I have.
That's it for me.
Okay, gentlemen, have a good day. Have a safe weekend. Drive careful. See you later.
Oh, see ya.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shoemaker.